What's better than dessert? A dessert that's essentially 2 desserts in one. Hi everyone, it's Tasha and welcome to another recipe video. And today we are going to be making Hallon Toscatårta, raspberry Tosca cake in English. Toscatårta is a Swedish cake. It's also sometimes known as Toscatårta. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it is an almond sponge cake with sort of like an almond florentine topping. And that's what I mean by double dessert. You've got the cake and you've got the florentine, which is essentially caramelised nuts. Whether you call it a torta or a coca, that means tart or cake. So why Tosca? Well, think of the florentine topping, of a flat disc of caramelised nuts that has been coated in chocolate on one side. They come from Florence in Italy. Florentines from Florence, makes sense. Now Florence is the capital of the Tuscany region in Italy, and in Italian Tuscany is Toscana. Apologies for any pronunciation gaffes. Florentines, Florence, Tuscany, Toscana, Tosca cake. I first tried this cake in one of my favourite cafes that no longer exists in London. RIP Nordic Bakery. It was one of my favourite little cafes. For a while it was known as the best place to have cinnamon buns in London. It's long closed now, unfortunately. But I tried Tosca cake there about 11 or 12 years ago, so I decided that I really wanted to make this at home. I did a little research about where the concept of Tosca cake comes from, what the ingredients usually are. I came up with my own recipe mix for it, and then I also added raspberries. I really like the raspberries because they'll give a little tart edge against the richness and sweetness of the cake. But raspberries aren't a traditional addition to Tosca cake, that's just my addition. Raspberries in Swedish is apparently hallon according to Google Translate, so this will be a Hallon Toscatårta. It sounds like a kind of fancy concept, but I promise you it is super easy to make. So with all that said, let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. First, let's preheat the oven to 180 degrees C. Here we have 85 grams of unsalted butter, which we have softened at room temperature. Then we're going to add in 140 grams of caster sugar, and we're going to cream this together. There we go, that's good enough. Now I'm going to crack in 3 eggs. And we'll whisk this together too. Now we're going to add in about a teaspoonful of vanilla and a teaspoonful of almond extract. And we'll give that a quick whisk too. And finally we're going to add the dry ingredients. Here I have 115 grams of self-raising flour and 30 grams of ground almonds. And I'm going to add a little pinch of salt too. Now let's whiz this up. And we are done. That's our sponge at least. Here I have a 9-inch springform tin which I have greased lightly with oil, just vegetable oil, and also lined the bottom with some non-stick baking parchment. And we're going to dump our cake mixture straight in. Give it a few firm taps on the counter to get rid of big air bubbles. And now here I have 150 grams of raspberries, which I have washed and dried, and I'm just going to slap them on. These are going to sink to the bottom, so don't worry about that. But putting on the top first just gives them a chance to bleed into that cake, so we have a bit of the juice running through too. And now we're going to bake this for about 20 to 25 minutes. Now when you've got about 5 minutes left of your cake's cooking time, we're going to make the almond topping. So here I have 80 grams of unsalted butter. I'm going to add 80 grams of caster sugar and 100 milliliters of double cream. You can use any cream though, single cream will do too. This is the extra thick stuff. It was literally the only stuff that was left at the shops at the time. So you can use regular, non-thickened double cream, whipping cream, single cream, it all works. Just make sure it's 100 milliliters. And we're going to melt this all together on a medium heat and then bring it to a boil. So let's melt it together first. And when it starts bubbling and boiling like this, then we start the boil time. So we're going to boil this for 1 minute. There we go, it's been a minute. I'm going to shut the heat off. I'm actually going to take this off the heat now. And we're going to add in 150 grams of flaked almonds. Thankfully I have half a 100 gram bag of almonds because I made my matcha almond croissants again recently. And we're going to give this a good old stir together, and this is going to be our topping. It looks and smells divine. Now our cake's been in for nearly 25 minutes now, so that's perfect. It's not quite done yet though. What we're going to do is we're going to poke holes in it. We're being as rough as we like. Poke loads of holes in, and this is actually going to help our almond topping seep through a tiny bit and stick to the top of our cake. We're going to bring our topping, give it another little stir, and we're going to spread this evenly on top of our cake. And we're going to bake this for a final 10 to 15 minutes. And here we go. Wow, it is sizzling. Listen to that. And now for the hardest part of all. We have to let this cool down completely before we do anything with it. The cake is cool, I am excited. Let's get this bad boy out of the tin. Now it might be that the Florentine has caramelised itself and stuck itself to the tin. If that happens, just gently run a knife around the edge. This looks fine though. We're going to unclip. Yep, that is good, and release. We've still got the tin base underneath there though, so I'm just going to gently slide a palette knife, an angled palette knife under, and because we have our piece of paper there, it should be relatively easy to separate it from the tin. There we go. So the paper will still be underneath. Obviously, don't eat the paper. Just turn the light on because it's getting dark again. And let's take a slice. How about we start here? Oh, crunchy. Wow, that looks amazing. That looks incredibly tasty. And also look at the wonderful almond Florentine crust on that. Oh, if it focuses, that is. I'm thinking I might have been a little bit adventurous with the size of this slice, but let's see how we go. It is, to be fair, quite a big cake. And you know what? The raspberries didn't actually stick right to the bottom like the last time I made them. I think it's because this time I didn't push the raspberries down, I just sort of dolloped them on top and let them do their thing. Anyway, let's grab the slice that we just took. Wow, yeah, that is quite a big slice, but I haven't had lunch today, so I guess this will be my lunch. Let's take that chunk that we took out for the slowmo. Oh, it looks so spongy. Here's a little close-up for you. Cheers! Imagine an almond croissant, but mostly filling, and that filling has a slightly lighter, more cakey texture. That is this cake. Oh my goodness, that is good. If you like almond croissants, you're gonna like this. And like I said at the beginning, the tartness of those raspberries is really helping to cut through the sweetness of the cake itself. We have a very crunchy top, and the cake itself is super soft, moist and spongy. 10 out of 10 tea time cake. Perfect for fika, which I believe is a Swedish tradition of having a coffee and a cake and a bit of a rest, which I think I'm going to do now. All I'm missing is the coffee, so that is my next task of the day. So there you go, Hallon Toscatårta, or raspberry Tosca cake. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video, and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram on tashcakes.taste, and find me on TikTok too. I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food in slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I will see you all next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. Oh my goodness, it's getting impossible to film lately.